Hey, BassGeek here, and it's the dog days of summer. You better do one of three things. Go big, go finesse, or go home, because it's hot out there. All right, geeks, don't let the heat run you off the lake right now. Go early or go late in the day. But let's talk about going big or going small in August. So by now, all the shad fry should be hatched. They should be out there somewhere, whether it be shallow, whether it be deep, whether it be on wood, or whether it be on grass. The shad fry should be out there. So you've got two options. To me, if you're fishing shallow, you need to scale down. If you're fishing out deep where the big shad are going to be, you need to scale up. So let me show you how I do that in my top 5 for August. So in my area, a lot of times what's happening is the shad are moving offshore, the shad fry are beginning to ball up, and you get a lot of topwater action. A lot of topwater action out over open water too. So one of the things when they're busting, sometimes they get real finicky about hitting topwater baits, because without forward facing sonar for years, a lot of times what we would do is we just come out, we know where they're going to be busting those shad at, and we just throw those topwaters and kind of work those busting bass over. Now with the advent of forward facing sonar, we can do a few different things, but one of the baits that work really great when they're maybe not keying in on that walking bait or that popping bait, that hard bait in this ultra clear water, is a soft jerk bait. Now, you'll notice I've got my soft jerk bait rigged up a little bit different. I got it on a belly weighted hook, and that's because a lot of times I'm fishing ultra clear water. When you're fishing that ultra clear water, a lot of times those bass can come from 15 and 20 feet down straight up like rockets. And I'm talking about largemouth to bust on those shad. So that is one of my favorites I've been fishing for years, and it's an incredible color in clear water. And that's a ghost shad. This is the caffeine shad by Strike King. This has a little more salt in it, so it's a little heavier and it sinks a little bit faster. I love both styles of fluke. The super fluke is probably the one that I use more than the regular fluke. And a lot of the ways that I use this, because it is lighter, it's a little more buoyant, even though it's got some salt in it, is really skipping across the top. This bait really is perfect for being worked fast and really busting that top looking like shad fleeing. Now, those are kind of my smaller or finesse style soft jerk baits. These are my two big ones. This is the Exxon Whiplash shad. That tail does some incredible things when ripped through the water. It is a little bit heavier too. Got a little more salt content, so it's going to sink. I like that. But a lot of times I'm not weighting this bait. I'm really just ripping it, trying to get that tail to get some incredible action. We'll talk about that in a video coming soon. This is the albino shad, one of my absolute go-to colors. And this next one is one of my favorite colors, a little more low light, unlike right now, which it has been raining on us all day. This is Minnow Magic. And again, these things are great, just ripped and just worked extremely fast. You won't believe the action on the tails. And you know you can't talk about a big or magnum style soft jerk bait without talking about the new Damiki Armor Shad 7-inch. This thing is incredible. I don't even know if you really call it a soft jerk bait because of the great S action it has, like a multi-joint swim bait coming through the water. But this thing is incredible. And this bait really shines on a high-speed reel with a belly weighted hook and cranking it as fast as you can, especially through and over grass. Remember, these things are extremely soft. See how thin they are? That's why you get that great S action. So make sure you've got some sort of Mendit in the boat with you. These things will tear up quickly, but God, they get bit. So my 5th favorite way is a soft jerk bait, no matter the size. And if they're out chasing shad, something that you need to have, whether you have forward facing sonar or not, is a jig head minnow tied on. I can't tell you how many times that has saved the day for me, with and without forward-facing sonar. And I tell you guys that fish ponds a whole lot, soft jerk baits this time of year and jig head minnows, because the thermocline pushes those bass up. If those ponds don't have a lot of current then, or some sort of fountain, then as it gets hotter, that thermocline pushes shallower and shallower, and the bass, a lot of times they want to be out over deep water, so they'll just suspend up out there over the deepest part of the pond. So top water, soft jerk baits, jig head minnows. You're not going to believe it, you'll catch your biggest fish. They'll either do that, or of course they'll move to the bank if they do have some sort of cover to hide in, grass or wood. All right, so I always say pay attention to your graphs or how big the shad are that they're chasing. And we're always going to start out with the 3-inch. This is the Damiki Armor Shad. Again, one of my favorite and go-to colors, good old pearl white. Another great minnow, one of my absolute favorites, and again in that 3-inch version, is the Yum forward-facing sonar minnow. This is JC Natural, which I love. If it's high sun, dead slick calm, and they're out there chasing those itty bitty shad, Great Lakes Finesse in iridescent and the 2.75 drop minnow, that little baby's money. Now it's time to move up in size. One of my favorites again is the Yum forward-facing sonar minnow. They make them in 2 sizes bigger now. Right now I've got the 4-inch. They also make it in the 5-inch. This is gizzard shad, one of my favorite colors in the bigger sizes. And you geeks have seen this pay off a lot for me when I know they're chasing bigger shad. This is the Damiki Armor Shad in the 5-inch, and this is white silver flake. And all that is why a jig head minnow is number 4 on the list. Now, if some of you geeks get to fish shallower and have shallower lakes, it's the perfect time of year to flip. Because this time of year, there's really 2 to 3 things that you want to look for. One is current, because it's going to create oxygen. So that means run to the backs of your major contributaries or your rivers. You'll be able to get shallow and go flipping for some bass, even in the middle of the hottest days of summer. The next thing is you're going to want to go deep. We've talked about a lot of that stuff already. The next thing is grass. Of course, if you've got some good oxygen producing grass, you can go flip that. And that's what I like to do this time of year. Now, 2 of my favorite things in the world to flip is any sort of beaver bait. And the 2 that I've got with me today, I love to downsize. I get a lot more bites on the smaller version. But one of my favorites has got to be, and the reason why is because if you hold it like this and you don't break the tails apart, it looks like a small bluegill, especially if you put a little bit of chartreuse on the tail. That is the Rage structure bug. This is the original 4-inch size, and this is one of my favorite colors, and that's watermelon red. But over the past few years, this time of year, I have really been getting bites on this smaller version. This is green pumpkin. It's the 3-inch version, the Rage baby structure bug. And flipping, especially on a sunny day, that's number 3. Remember, go big or go small. If you're going to be fishing the banks, this is one of my favorite swim baits to throw. And that is the Damiki Armor Shad paddle tail, 3-inch version. And this is one of my favorite colors. This is American shad. You can see it's got a little bit of a green back, but it's super clear. This thing's great rigged a lot of different ways, from a finesse underspin, a ball head, jig head, or even one of my screw heads, and they will all catch bass. Another great little bait that I don't think a lot of people use, and it is a Kitech. I don't think a lot of people in my area use them as much as I do, and that is Kitech Easy Shiner. They come in a lot of different sizes. I love to throw the 3-inch version this time of year. And since there's a ton of threadfin in my lakes, this is threadfin shad. Again, it's the same sort of deal. I like to throw it on a lot of different rigs. That's why I love swim baits so much, is that they're so diverse to be able to use. The great thing about this one is that you can go from teeny tiny to pretty daggone big, up to, I believe, 4 and 5 inches, and that's the X-Zone Swimmer. This is one of my favorite colors, Minnow Magic. Geeks, if you've watched the channel for any given time, you know that my favorite big 5 to 6 inch swim bait is the Ramsey Baits Precision. And one of my go-to colors, probably my go-to color when I'm fishing clear water, that's the Ghost Shad. And that is a ledge head. That's a 3/8 ounce. Normally I'm throwing about a 1/2 ounce, kind of my go-to, but that's a ledge head lures ledge head. And this is the Ramsey Baits Precision Swimmer in Ghost Shad. And that's why a good swim bait, big or small, is always number 2 on the list. Well, one of my favorites is the Boyo by Heddon. This thing will cast a mile. It is a heavy bait, but it is in a smaller profile than even the Spook Junior. One of my favorite colors is Bone. Now, you geeks have seen this on the channel for years now. It's probably my favorite popper, if you can really call it that, because it does so much more. And I say it all the time, it's no joke, but it is a prank, and that's the Prank by Booyah Baits. Now, we're gonna upsize, and this is where my bigger walking baits really come in, like this one, the Damiki Rambler. This is a great bait. Again, I'm fishing at clear water, and something that I really like when fishing at clear water is that kind of one knocker. I don't like a bunch of BBs. So it's got that good thunk, thunk, thunk sound to it as it comes through the water. Great color. This is AU and the Damiki Rambler. Next up is a new bait that we've been playing with this year, and this is by Thunderhawk Lures. It's the Papa Walker. This thing can be fished so many different ways. It's pretty incredible, from popping to an incredible walking action to a ripping action. This thing can be fished any way you need to fish a topwater bait to get the bass's attention, and it's got a soft plastic tail. This color, again, I don't remember. It is my favorite color in it. All these baits come in a ton of colors, so you can find your favorite colors. As always, there'll be links in the description. But this is the Papa Walker by Thunderhawk. And when I say go big, Cornerstone Baits, they really do a great job. An incredible high-end, top-of-the-line hooks and split rings. You know, if you haven't seen my deep diving crankbait video, you need to go back and check that out. But this is the Big Swift, and it's in one of my favorite colors, which is Space Shad. It's very translucent, got a little orange on the belly, and got a really cool purple on top. So it's gonna really give you some flash as it's walking and rolling. And that is number 1, topwater through the summer. It's always gotta be number 1. I mean, if you can catch them in the winter on topwater, that's gotta be number 1. You know what I'm saying? Topwater is always number 1. All right, geeks, sorry that I'm so behind on getting this stuff out. This new schedule has kept me crazy busy, but we are gonna pick a winner for the hair jig video for the July box winner. $168 comments. Thank you, geeks. Who's gonna win? Bassin 75. I need to unlock this new skill. Well, looks like you're gonna get to. All right, as always, I'll leave you a comment when this video drops and let you know you won. All right, if you want to see the top 5 from last year, check out that video. As always, questions, comments in the comment section below. You geeks know I love to talk fishing with you. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell so you get notifications and join the 100% Watch Squad. And as always, you geeks rock.